All right. This is one of the biggest, the most intense sets in Titans League Silver qualifiers, or now deciders. The winner of this best of 5 moves on to play in Gold League, which will be starting in a week. And then, of course, has the opportunity to earn money there, but also be promoted to Platinum with the top 24 players in the world the next time a season rolls around. And both of these players have similar themes with them, okay? They both have insane talent, but they both have fallen off a little bit, either due to inactivity or just, mainly inactivity, to be honest. I think Jibatong took like over a year off. Hearttt has played this game a lot in spurts. But I mean, Hearttt has certainly he has reached the higher heights. Back a couple years ago, he was running a lot deeper into tournaments than he may be doing now. And I will say this about Hearttt. He's an incredible talent. Like, it feels like when he's rusty, he's 2,400 elo. I think Jibatong's peak is maybe 2,400 elo. So Hearttt is definitely my favorite. He was the player who I had predicted to move on out of this group. But Jibatong, man, he's been back. He's been in business. And he's got a good civ here. He's got the Lithuanians. And he finds himself in the red. And then Hearttt has the Huns on the other side in the blue. We actually saw this civ matchup on Jungle Swamp. Very different from this map, obviously. But I did feel like Lithuanians just have greater peaks. The skirms, the halbs, the knights with all the bonuses from the relics. I mean, that all on top of the extra food at the start is just feels like it's a bit more, as I say, power spiky. Whereas the Huns, it's more of a gradual buildup. They have like more traditional bonuses, like a discount on this, and then slightly faster production on this. No like bonuses that jump out at you, I would say. The other thing I'm going to say about Hearttt, and he may not like me using this aspect of it as an example, but I think it's important to talk about for like the whole league format as a whole. So when we started the first season, many people were just like, oh man, like how are you ranking those top 24, right? And so there were some situations where players did not play tournaments at all. So they were really good on like ranked games or ladder games. And many people were like, whoa, like, are you not going to put, like, we'll say Hearttt as an example, Hearttt into the Gold League at least? Are you not going to put him into the Platinum League? And I was like, basically like, no, because like this is all based on tournaments. You got to be playing the game to earn these spots. And there's a lot of disappointment from many people, the players, the fans, because they were like, man, I mean, I feel like those players could play in that league, blah, blah, blah. And that's totally justifiable. But what I had said at that time was, wait 6 months, and you have a qualifier. You win the qualifier. You move on to gold. You have gold happens right after the qualifier. You could be in platinum for the season after. And I think so that's been what's kind of been fun for me. We had to find a starting point for the seasons. And that starting point, I felt was good and based on the right things. But now that this thing is finally flowing and we're finding ourselves jumping into season 2 and hopefully beyond, it's like this whole thing is going to even out. And all those good players are going to rise to the top. All the other players that might be struggling will rise to the bottom. So, Jibatong and Hearttt are just good examples of players who would not have been placed within gold and within platinum at the start because of inactivity. But yet, here they are, and this is a big moment for them. So, anyways, we had the time. It's Ravines. There's not a lot of other things happening. So, I figured I'd chime in there. Feels like we're going to see some scouts here for Jibatong. And probably the same for Hearttt. I think the way this game would want to flow out for the Huns is probably scouts into Cav Archers later. As for the Lithuanians, I think you'd want to go Knight Skirm. Which absolutely is strong, but it's also much harder to get to. They don't have any discounts on their units. They do have to build houses and things. So Huns can be a little bit easier to play, I'd say. I do like the walling approach from Jibatong so far. He's definitely more of a defensive player compared to Hearttt. And if he can wall off this direction, that will be good for the long run. And you can see Hearttt notice the wall there and is just sitting. Oh, actually, he didn't notice it, which is kind of funny. But Jibatong noticed him. And Jibatong has stayed at home so far. On this map, you start with outposts. And this may be the last time we see Ravines for a bit, because this will not be included in the map pool for the second season. I haven't made a video yet on what the map pool will look like. I will try and do so if I can find the time this week for you guys. But otherwise, you'll just have to wait around to see. That 5 seconds of TC idle time is going to make the difference between the scout HP here, which is crazy, right? Like, now Hearttt is winning the scout war. Oh, the villager! Oh, Heartt's going to love life. Kills the scout of the opponent, but the opponent doesn't know where he is or what he's doing. Now, imagine a lot can be assumed. Also, that was awkward. But yeah, I imagine a lot can be assumed. So maybe he'll just go Spearman defense here, but Heartt's going to be adding scouts. And obviously, Heartt's score will be very high, and his insights will be higher than his opponent as well. Oh my god, I got food delivery. Thank you. Well, this is awkward, because this is really good now, and this is kind of an important moment in the game. Alright, guys. What do? Do I eat this food? Or do I stay a pro caster and watch this thrilling build-up where Jibatong is going for farms and spearmen? I mean, there's a lot to talk about. So I apologize for my lack of professionalism here. This is just as fast-paced as it gets. I'll do you a solid. In these moments, I try and remind you guys how different the whole experience is if there's no one talking. Okay, so the food is chicken tenders and a salad, for those asking. Hearttt is like, I want to kill something so badly, but this guy's fully walled. This is not really the type of map where Hearttt would excel, by the way. So I think it's important that he keeps his cool, keeps his composure. He is walling up, though there is a hole back there, which he may or may not find. And he's probably a little confused why we see a range thus far, because it was a little late. And Heartt's going to run in. And Jibatong's going to try and house wall, quick wall, but the scouts get in. Well played, Hearttt. This salad's really good, so you're just going to have to give me a minute. You're right. Jibatong has no loom. Oh, man, and the idle time, too. He also might not remember he has no loom. Oh, never mind. Oh, what a play. What a play. That was sick. Top plays from Hearttt. I feel really bad. But I've subbed to his stream for 4 years, and he's taken 2 years of a break, so I think if Hearttt ever sees this, I think he got the better end of the deal. I'm not going to finish this whole thing, by the way. We're just going to wait till Castle Age, all right? So I apologize, but I'm freaking hungry, man. All right. Jibatong's eco is stabilizing. My stomach is stabilizing. So things are looking pretty good. He's literally stabilizing as he's making a stable behind his base. But let me tell you, I don't like this opening at all. I feel like this is a very weak opening for this map. Hearttt, though, was able to be patient enough, find the right opportunities, and get 2 villager kills. And those are 2 villager kills that at the very least shouldn't have happened. Now, the whole Spearman Archer play, we'll see exactly what that turns into here. But when I talked about the strength of the Lithuanians, I did not mention Spearman Archer. He doesn't know where his opponent is. You know, he's going to be under pressure. He's going to be adapting all the time. So I'll be curious to see how Hearttt chooses to play this. Right now, he's actually hiding the second archer range in the back. So I'm guessing this will probably be some cav archers. Because what he's going to do is he's going to expect that it's not going to be Spearman Archer in the long run because he's showing skirm. And Lithuanians are always going to go for knights. So I think the right play is to eventually just mass up, get maybe the third range and mass those cav archers. And there's the third range now. A bit weird how he made the one range on the back and now he's making the other one on the front, but it's just, you know, aesthetic things. Nothing that's really going to be game-changing for him. 4 kills, 4 deaths in this game. Hearttt will probably squeeze in Bloodlines at some point too, because that will affect those cav archers. And Jibatong clearly is feeling some type of pressure because he's on 3 stables now. So, I mean, Heartt's going to see one of them. Might even kill this villager, honestly. Okay, he's not going to kill the villager, but he sees it, and he feels like he's delayed it, and he's already massing the cav archers. I've been very underwhelmed with Jibatong's performance so far. But also you have Hearttt playing on point and Hearttt making no mistakes. It is just that to get here, you usually make very few mistakes in these types of situations. So, another villager goes down. Heartt's living the dream right now. I wonder for Jibatong if part of this is like nerves going into the series. Maybe it is just his style. Maybe he's got a little bit more of like a lazy eco style these days. You can see how fast the town center's going up. So he'll have that in the back corner. There's also the monastery. And he will have knights to clear this up and ultimately push forward across the map. And normally you're going to see 2 stables be the play if you're going to boom. So 3 stables doesn't seem to be the balance that you normally have. And that's just because you're not going to be able to sustain production from 3 stables. That could have been 3 farmers, or that the wood could have been saved for other things. Not the end of the world, though, and maybe against Huns, you might want that extra stable so you can keep up with production of knights against the cav archers. Hearttt clearing up this tiny little feudal age armor, as we all expected. And the cav archers now see exactly what's coming at them, and it is knights, and it will be monks. Priority, obviously, is to keep the relics away from the Lithuanians here. Now, Hearttt, he might dive underneath the TC here. He did it before with the scouts. And he just saw the knights run forward. Let's see, what's his mindset going to be? Is it going to be like kill, 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 or is he going to be as patient as possible? And these cav archers are waiting. It feels like he should just be patient. He's getting good trades. He's on the gold now. At least denying the gold temporarily is fine. These knights aren't going to do anything. He really can't produce enough knights to defend himself at home right now either. This is extremely awkward right now for Jibatong, who's now going to scramble what he can over to these TCs. And he went from the gold to the berries with all these villagers. Yikes. Knight goes down there, 11 to 10 KD right now. And because of the outposts and everything, Heartt's sitting pretty. And he's really not skimping on army production. He did break through here, by the way. The 3 villager kills earlier, I would consider freebies. This is where life gets a lot more complicated. And there's number 4. I do not see a world where the eco is good enough to also be able to produce knights. Like, you've got 3 town centers producing villagers. It is so tough to get the food eco for knights as well. So yeah, siege normally is your best friend then. A couple scorpions or a couple mangonels can be extremely helpful here. Oh no. Oh no. Jibatong. Kill the monk, Hearttt. Oh, he loses a cav archer. Okay. Siege Workshop goes up. The villagers could actually save themselves. However, over here, unfortunately, these knights haven't been able to get the kills that they wanted. Remember, Hun cav archers are cheap, right? They're cheap, and they also don't have to make houses, so they save so much wood compared to other civs. 2 relics collected there, though, so maybe this group of cav archers could be whittled down. And Hearttt is really focused right now on his micro. Did get bloodlines. But I'm just noticing how active he is with his army and how late that 3rd town center was. That scout, by the way. That scout could do something. Hearttt would never expect that, but the aggression just continues from Hearttt. The KD's pretty close. But Heartt's had only a minute of TC idle time. He realizes there's still no +2 on the knights. His opponent's stressed out, running around with villagers constantly, and Heartt's micro is on point here. It's also beautiful value to not have to get additional armor or thumb ring or ballistics or any of those upgrades that you normally want. But Jibatong's hanging in there. 5 to 1 eco KD is not the end of the world. Heartt's not going to kill him off, and I think Lithuanians are better late game civ. Also, having played in a lot more tournaments over the last year or two. First game, always super shaky for me. Like, I'm struggling big time. I'm overthinking things. My brain's not working. It's just like, I can't get any balance. And so that could be possible. You know, that could be exactly what's happening for Jibatong. And considering he hasn't really had a lot of map control, the KD is actually pretty solid. And the fact that he has 2 relics is also pretty solid too. So, also don't hate his farming eco. Not a biggest fan of certain eco upgrades, of course. And, well, just generally being behind in control of the game is usually not a good thing in the long run. All right. These Scorpions will chase down these Cav Archers. These Cav Archers thinking about moving in. This Monk will eventually get picked off as he's heading over here for this relic. And feels like a perfect time to take a bite of my food. So 1 second. No, I'm kidding. I can't do that. Never mind. The food's not here. I'm just not going to look at it. It's just, it's the lifestyle I chose. Talking all the time means I can't eat. It's fine. Interesting defense here from Jibatong. He clears up the Cav Archers. He now has the Scorpions to peel back over. And he still only lost 2 villagers throughout the last couple minutes. I mean, really just needs space. He needs to be able to conveniently farm back here. He's run out of farm space. I would really have liked to see Hearttt go for a forward siege workshop. Like, right around here would be really good. But also, classic Hun style would be great to mix in some knights as well, especially because you've killed so many monks, and that's precisely what Heartt's doing. Hearttt even adding more stables at home, so he'll have 3 stables, 3 ranges. Should have the eco to keep most of that producing, and also has ballistics now, and now has thumb ring. The balance has not been there for Jibatong, but what's done is done, right? Like, here, you are where you are right now, and you have to roll with the punches. Hearttt has looked as clean as can be, and has done a great job at punishing certain aspects of Jibatong's play. And the other thing is that he hasn't sacrificed a lot of efficiency on his side of things, too. Like, sometimes you punish someone for being greedy, but then you haven't gotten these eco upgrades, or had the town centers down, or just had the eco expanding like this. This is... It feels like really good training exercise for Hearttt right now. But in reality, it's a series that will send him in the gold. And he's going to be a feared opponent in gold if he makes it, by the way. Like, everyone knows exactly what he was in the past, what he can be if he's motivated. And he's been motivated, man. He's been playing a lot. He has gone through here. Awkward decision time for him because he'll see this tower. But, I mean, the Knights can still take out the Scorpions. And, yeah, I mean, Heartt's just going to massacre this guy. How many Knights has Jibatong made in this game? I think he's actually made about 20 Knights. But we've never seen more than like 5 or 6 Knights on the field because they continue to get picked off. Whether they move out or Hearttt runs into his base to pick them off. It just continues to be a problem here. And we do have town centers everywhere for Jibatong, but that's just going to lead to idle time. And we've got 8 food workers right now for Jibatong. And Hearttt has 30. And we've got, what, 30 idle villagers right now for Jibatong. This is probably going to be the end of the game here shortly. And it is, it probably feels very smothering. It probably makes you lose confidence that you can actually win against this guy in this series. It's just, nothing about this game is ideal for Jibatong. In fact, I don't know what you do. Do you rip the Band-Aid off and just resign? Or do you continue to play and try and work past whatever emotions this is bringing you? I think either way, it kind of sucks. so I don't know. But Heartt's in a rhythm right now, right? And there's no way you're going to break that rhythm. Yeah, I mean, no fletching hurts. And you're right that fletching can be helpful. But, I mean, even with fletching, this is still a really bad situation, right? Hearttt finds more villagers here. And if there was ever a time to call GG, and ever a time for me to eat, this would be it. I don't know what to say other than this is super over. This is like... Many people have called the GG much earlier. But yeah, I mean, the dream as Huns, and then also the dream start to a series. Super clean from Hearttt. No mistakes. From eco to army switches to production to micro positioning, everything's been perfect. And Jibatong's surely going to call the GG now. And there it is. Remember that time where I said that if they were both playing at their peak, that this could be a really close series because they both had crazy years in the past, but also that this is either going to be a 3-2 or a 3-0. After watching that game, it feels like I'd be leaning more towards a 3-0 prediction. Jibatong looked shaky and Hearttt looked clean, but you know, we'll see. Maybe Jibatong. I mean, certainly I don't think we're going to see a worse performance from him in the next game. Sorry if that's rude. Just sloppy mistakes that Hearttt punished. Lost his scout in the Dark Age. Never knew where his opponent was until in Castle Age. Lost 3 villagers to 3 scouts. Was later to Castle Age. All of those things are problematic. I don't think he played bad, by the way, when he got to Castle Age. But if you fall behind in momentum against a player like Hearttt and the Huns, you're going to have a big problem. So, you know, adding the TCs and like holding on was very decent, but it's not what you want. You don't want to fall behind and then be credited with holding on longer than you should have. You want to be credited with a better performance in the actual game. And I have to decide on if I eat this chicken. I've only ate the salad so far. I'll do some introductions here and then we can move on to that. Apologies, but I'm a little sick at the moment. I was debating on pushing back casting these sets because I haven't been feeling 100%, but like I'm at 65%, which is decent enough. So what I will do is I'll make sure that I eat and not delay fueling my very tired body after all the holidays. All right, hey, we've got game 2, Jibatong. It didn't look good in game number 1, to put it simply enough. He's playing as the Gujaras now, and then Hearttt is playing as the Chinese. Earlier today, we saw it, and we saw that Chinese are just disgusting. If they can get the town centers down, and playing into Crossbow Knight with Eco is precisely the type of thing that Hearttt likes to do. That is precisely the thing that we saw White Court do against Bad Koala earlier today to get victory over the Gujaras. Map-wise, I noticed there's a little bit more space between the woodlines in this generation than we've seen in some of the other generations. But wall potential is always still there. Players normally have 3 woodlines. But I think this generation might actually suit Jibatong a little bit because Chinese would prefer a more closed map. Gujaras have more of an opportunity to be aggressive in early feudal. Also, what's up, Doof? Nice to see you. Jeremiah's Huang is out because he wasn't able to play. Basically, they had, what did we give them? 10 days, I think? Obviously, it was over the Christmas holiday. I think it ended up being 2.5 weeks or something. Anyways, a pretty solid chunk of time to play. Huang was really ill, and we gave him as much time as possible and was working with Overtaken, his opponents, to make the games happen. All I can say is that he was like really ill, and he is now feeling better. He is on the mend, but still very much unable to play. And so for that reason, we had to keep things moving. We have the next season actually starting in a few days. So unfortunately, that's just where we're at. Yeah, Poipes, I absolutely love that take. The ridge in the middle controls so much. It doesn't control as much at Jibatong's base. But, you know, controlling this would defend your own resources if you're Hearttt. And obviously, if Jibatong controls that center ridge, he also denies Heartt's resources. So that's interesting. I actually want to bring that back. I feel like present-day Arabia, and we won't do it for Titans League, but present-day Arabia doesn't have enough crucial hills in the middle. It's just tiny little hills, and the only thing that matters with hills is, oh, your army's on top of that hill. But we don't see fortifying neutral positions as much. We don't see things like this as much. And I am actually going to eat a chicken finger right now. So one sec. It's homemade. and very tasty. All right, so what I'm seeing from Hearttt so far is that he's fully recognized that going for walls between woodlines is not going to be so simple. And so he's trying to add as many fortifications as possible while being realistic with it. He's added a barracks there, I see. And he actually might consider men-at-arms, which is not something you see from Chinese too frequently. Still could be archers, though. Just the fact that he has so much on food makes me think it will be men-at-arms. Jibatong, on the other hand, looks to be going for scouts, though it always could be archers here, too. Pots on wood to bring in enough for the barracks and then the stable. But that could be barracks, archer range, and then mining camp. Scouting, obviously, is really important. And Jibatong, I think, is coming home to kill this scout. And he's just going to assume that Hearttt is going for scouts because... Well, actually, that's not true. Chinese, 95% of the time, are going to go for a scout opening or an archer opening. They're very rarely ever going to go for man-at-arms because it is really hard to get the build down to be able to afford eco upgrades and whatever army you're going to make. So this could be huge here for Hearttt. This could be huge. Now, he could lose his scout, which he won't like, or at least lose a little bit of HP on it, but he's really curious right now. He's trying to see where he can send his militia. And his scout's going to get trapped. No, it won't. Jibatong was so close. He had the right idea. I mean, he's getting a lot of HP off of this thing. So that faster uptime is crucial. And now Jibatong sees this. And let's see how Hearttt can manage the Vil production, the upgrades behind this, and everything. Because we have a switch from Jibatong now. So he immediately goes into a range. So this is actually going pretty nicely for him. And he immediately heads over to gold. Love the start for Jibatong. There's the range then for Hearttt. But you see what I mean? Like, with the Chinese, you absolutely want to have horse collar farms. Or at the very least, like, play into a little bit more eco underneath that town center. He did lose his scout over here. And the camel's now on the move from Jibatong. So Hearttt taking some risk, at least as far as the meta's concerned. Wasn't able to be rewarded. But his scout now goes down. And he just finds out that it's going to be a ranged opening from his opponent. All right. So, I mean, these walls should be no problem. I'm not sure exactly why Jibatong isn't walling the other side yet. Okay, that's a little weird. But should be no problem, as he's got 5 villagers, and they're all going to be inefficiently bumping into each other there. Hearttt on the other side, also going to be making some archers for now. And this is something that Hearttt is, I think, more suited for as a player. The more technical build orders tend to be more of the thing I associate with Hearttt. Going into the series, I would say that Jibatong is better in boom games, but in the previous game, it didn't look good. So I don't know what to think. I think a lot of that was just trying to, get used to the series and get the nerves out of the way. He's fine, though. He's going to have fletching, and I think it would make a lot of sense here for Jibatong, now that he is fletching, to actually delete some of these walls, because it's making me scream! But yeah, delete them, and then just wall up the other areas and go for, like, a full wall play. Heartt's ecos looked really good, though. And I think we'll have a blacksmith from him so he can time fletching. And the man-at-arms have bought him some time. I think that's the big positive. And Jibatong didn't have loom? What? Okay, man. Thank God he saw those militia. I didn't realize that he didn't have loom. This guy's crazy. He also was really close to missing some of those quick walls. Like, I kind of understood it in the previous game, and wow, that camel died. That must be a really long sword there on the man-at-arm, but yeah, I honestly, in the other game it made sense, but on Arabia, it's not something you see every day. All right, so let's see how their micro is, and it's not just micro, but it's the macro behind it. Their farm count, their Vil production. The idle TC time has not changed for either player. Throughout Feudal Age, so it's been pretty consistent there, and both players are making skirms. Hearttt is going to be sticking with one range, Jibatong doing the same for now, and I would be okay with this. I would be okay with my opponent going into ranged units if I am either player, but more so the Gurjara player because I have the Shravamsha Rider later on. How many games do you guys think that Hearttt has played against the Gurjaras? Like, Gurjara's Hindustanis, if you had to guess how many games he's played against them. Because I don't know if Hearttt did a lot of practice sets or not. Honestly, he's been more active than he's been in a long time. I'd like to believe maybe he did a practice set, or at the very least talk to his teammates and his friends about what's good where. But when he plays, he's playing ranked Arabia. I haven't seen him playing in any events or anything recently. So I think, like, Hindustanis, I think he's going to have a good outlook on how to play. Gurjara's, I'm not too sure. I know Axel is an experienced Hearttt viewer. So he says 20 and he mulds every time. Okay. 20 times, really. I would have said more like 5 to 10, but... Wow, the disrespect from my chat right now. Look at Heartt's walls, man. I mean, they're not bad walls. But he was going to wall this way. And now he's realizing that he could just wall that choke point. My apologies, by the way. I still do have some food here, so I'm going to take a moment to take advantage of that. Also, Endurance. What's up? Nice to see you. I didn't see you in chat until now. So, you know, Hearttt choosing to move out here, it's going to be a very passive, boomy game, it seems like. And, no sign of if Heartt's going to switch into any other military buildings here. He actually is just going to collect 5 stone because he made an outpost there. And he wants to be able to drop the town centers. So I think Heartt's gold position on the front is going to be the biggest talking point for him. This hill. Or the chicken finger, as Poips called it a couple minutes back. Oh, God. Are you kidding me? Hearttt, send a villager forward and build the tower there. That's so annoying. Of course, there's this little gap, right? Natural little gap right in the wood line. Well, I would say the skirm number is going to be high enough over here where Jibatong can deal with that. But that's definitely enough to annoy me as a caster. A skirmisher runs in. That skirmisher was a scouting skirmisher. And at the moment, we see Jibatong making camels. A lot of people forget about this. You can make camel scouts in Feudal Age with the Civ. And they just are immediately camel riders in Castle Age. And it'll end up working out because Hearttt has one stable. But I think more than anything, Heartt's just going to boom. And I think they're just both trying to figure out what the other's going to make and what the plan is. We have a much bigger investment into military production, though, from Jibatong. Because getting a lead skirm in Bodkin Arrow is pretty crazy. But will he be able to chase down those archers is the big question now. And I'll answer that question in a moment, right after I finish the chicken finger. Happy New Year. Well, first off, Heartt's micro has been really good. He picked off a couple leftover archers, and he's been avoiding the skirms. He is in an awkward spot, though, because he's up against the lead skirmisher. Now, ultimately, he wanted to have the knights against that, but the camels are waiting. But I've always felt like having knight skirm is an easier situation, just because the knights are going to hold, they're going to tank more shots from the opposing ranged units, the skirms. And they're going to tank a lot more than the camels will on the other side. Those camels, in fact, were getting close to getting one-shotted, so Hearttt with 1 range, 2 stables, 2 TCs right now, and everything seems to be flowing pretty good for him. He avoided the danger of the early power spike of lead skirm, and he finds himself here on this hill. Neither player has great upgrades on their stable units, but again, I think the knights just offer a little more than those camels do right now. Mateus, I won't be casting my games. That was 2.5 weeks ago, and I would quite frankly like to forget it. I have really good games for my opponent, right? He had good strategies, but casting it because I feel like I could have done better and performed better in silver, it just honestly make me think about all the things I should have done differently on the draft or whatever. So won't be casting those. 2 TCs now for Jibatong. And 3 TCs now for Jibatong. And Hearttt, he's kept a steady flow of stable units and ranged units. And he's been pretty confident against those skirmishers because they don't have full armor. But full armor is about to come in, which basically means that the crossbows do 1 damage a hit against the skirms. And then the crossbows are just tickling those skirmishers. Feels like a pretty good composition for both players long term, right? Stable units from the Gurjaras, they do 40% more bonus damage in castle. I think so, right? Or is it 30% more bonus damage in castle now? They made a change where it's staggered. I think it's 20% feudal, 30% castle, 40% imp. I think that's it. Either way, additional bonus damage is nice. Skirms have solid enough upgrades. But I think that's the unit that you're going to want to get as much value from in Castle Age here as possible. And then ultimately have like one big core unit, which is probably your stable units here. But he's just waiting, right? And like the first game was a disaster for Jibatong at this stage. This game, he's slightly behind in eco, but there's a lot of game left to be played. Hearttt dropping a town center on the stone, so that'll probably lead to an earlier castle for him. Jibatong also has some villagers mining stone, but he's also next to the wood, so he can calculate it a little bit more than Hearttt can. Hearttt choosing not to go too heavy on stone, though, doing that pro move of farming around that TC. So this is all really good play. Yeah, thank you, Endurance. I thought I remembered that correctly. Knights can't dive in too close to the TC. Remember, the Knights don't even have bloodlines yet. So, if anything, like, the skirms should be pretty bold. Hearttt has been adding his own camels, which is interesting. So now, even the skirms do a little bit more damage. And more stables are coming up now from red, and the crossbows moving in boldly. Skirmishers back to the TC. Oh, man, how are they going to be able to macro with this? It's crazy, though. Hearttt hasn't skipped a beat. Still producing out of every single town center. Just 1 minute of TC idle time for Jibatong. He's idling a little bit more, but he's obviously the one under pressure right now. And it just takes one bad fight, and suddenly you lose this entire game. It's obviously not what you're going to be looking for. His Hearttt is taking advantage of the cheaper technologies. So now he's going to have +2 armor as well, but he doesn't have that many crossbows. He's losing quite a few of them, and I'm not sure what his stable production's looking like. Army count's still very close, and I feel like that extra bonus damage would make a really big difference if the ranged units were out of the picture. Also, Hearttt no bloodlines. Not having bloodlines at this stage is a pretty big deal. You've got a lot of HP on the map. You'd be adding a lot of HP if you got bloodlines. Crossbows still sitting on the hill, so they're doing more damage. More stables from Jibatong, and he's idling his TC more. So this is classic move when you're under pressure. You're starting to choose to create more military than villagers. Or sometimes it's unintentional. You're just like spamming stable units. And then the other part of it is you're trying to spam villagers, but you can't afford it all. I hope Hearttt goes for a defensive castle, because if he tries an offensive castle, this could be really bad for him. I mean, it's going to be really close. But he has bloodlines now, and oh boy, I'm standing right now, so I'm actually kind of like jumping up and down a little bit. I'm excited. Oh, geez, Hearttt, don't do it, dude. Place the safe castle. I actually think this is close enough, fight-wise, where the castle can't be stopped. I think the fight could be slightly won by Jibatong, but it won't be won enough where he can deny the castle and win the fight. Let's see if I'm right on this. Holy crap, this is an insane fight. The skirms are going for the crossbows. Heartt's just patrolled in. He has his own camels. He's not doing as much damage with the camels because of the bonus damage from Gurjaras, but camel v camel, does that really matter as much? And the crossbows here actually made a big difference, guys. Look at this. The crossbows here, 6 kills. If they didn't have those 6 kills, would Hearttt have been able to complete the castle? I don't know. Is he going to complete the castle? I don't know. Pretty much as I expected, but Heartt's going to be loving this now. He's actually ended up winning the fight. Jibatong sacrificed a lot of camels to try and kill villagers. And Heartt's got a 20 villager lead now. So an awesome vill lead for him. Awesome castle position for him. And this is a winnable position. Like, well, stating the obvious. But this is a position where many people even call GG, is kind of my point. Because Hearttt can do so much from here. And Jibatong's played really good this game. I think for him, Elite Skirm was never a bad play, but he needed to maybe find a little bit more value so the crossbows wouldn't be as much of a threat. 13 kills from those crossbows has made the difference for me. And obviously for the Chinese, it's a fairly cheap thing for you to do. And seems like a great time for another chicken finger break. The last one, guys. Yeah, I think he could have easily gone for a mix of Shravamshas there. But it's really tricky to get the balance down. And Heartt's Camels would have done well against the Shravamshas. So, but yeah, if he had like 5 to 10 Shravamshas, I think it would have been really good. Man, Heartt, the things he's able to do with like one crossbow mass, it's always in the same spot. He always has the support for it. It's so good. Okay. So I don't think you resign when imp hits if you already have 3 or 4 elephants and can push this down. This area is really exposed. Everything about how this game has flown should tell you, if you're Jibatong, that Heartt's up. So I think those armored elephants needed to come a little faster. Oh man, Heartt tries to quick wall that. And the units get in. So yeah, like in my mind, there's an opportunity here for these armored elephants to take that castle out. And Heartt now has to chase all this, which is going to be a pain and could lead to a lot of losses for him. So we'll see, like, Jibatong is going to struggle to execute here because he's busy in his base. But send out the armored elephants, man. Rajara armored elephants do a lot of damage against buildings. I think you should be making that move now. So one hole in the wall, and now all of Heartt's imp army has to come home, which is not where they will have wanted to go. Their parents obviously want them to come home, but they're like, Mom, I've got a job to do. We got to pay the bills, you know. So, you know, it's a little bit of a family conflict. Happens around the holidays, but... Oh my god, Heartt's walling in the Treb. Get the other side. Quick wall. All right, now can you put her in the castle and eject her on the other side to finish the wall? I don't know. I think Heartt will lose this castle unless he gets the melee units forward. He's definitely struggled just because that army got in. Do I still think he's going to win this game? Oh, certainly. He's got 40 more villagers, and he's an age ahead. But Jibatong's putting up a fight here. And as I said before, your Jara armored elephants are really good at taking out buildings. That extra damage that they get to mounted units. I think I always say stable units, but I should say mounted units because it is mounted units and it applies to their siege. But at the end of the day, Jibatong has had to send everything at that and everything he had into Heartt's base. And he's at 85 population. Heartt, he's got 24 Arbalests that could probably do the job, and they're on the way forward here. And he is in the driver's seat here. Heartt has looked the better player. Game 1, he looked like the much better player, and Jibatong was just having a shocker. Game 2, it was super close. But Heartt out-executed with the meta. It was very much a meta Arabia game. And you could say the Chinese are obviously very good at that, and I'd agree, but no, we have seen the Gurjaras dominate as well in many cases. And I think the key for me is that the Chinese player didn't take any pressure in the early stages of the game. But that's normally what you want to do. Like feudal age, you want to be aggressive. You want to be the one applying pressure. And even though Heartt didn't kill a lot with his pressure, he still controlled the game and made his castle. And that's when Chinese feel really tough to beat, especially in the hands of Heartt. Chinese are one of the best meta civilizations you can have. And Heartt is a very good meta player. So I think it says a lot about Heartt that someone earlier said, I'm really cheering for Heartt. I feel like he's forever sitting in Hera's shadow. Like that statement says a lot of what people believe Heartt can be. And I'm not too far off from believing that Heartt can be, you know, top 10 or top 15 player if he really commits. It also makes me chuckle because you kind of got Leary and MBL and all his boys, like all his teammates who might also be a part of casting a shadow just because Aftermath is just so stacked with talent. And they have been for so long, you know? So it's not just one player. But, you know, all of his teammates. And yeah, the reason he's on the bench at times, per se, in team games is because of the talent that everyone around him has. Listen, I've seen a lot. I played a lot of games and I've seen a lot of sets over the years. And anytime someone hasn't called the GG in this type of situation, 2 games in a row, they're either completely tilted out of their mind or they're really tired. And both of those things do not bode well for Jibatong. He's getting his castle trap down. He's in castle age. This is borderline griefing at this point to not call the game. I'm not saying it's that big a deal. Just saying based on my experience, because I've been in this shoot, like I've been in these situations where I'm like, oh crap, I didn't realize I was 4K score behind, or I'm frustrated and I'm desperate. All the things associated with continuing to play on when your opponent has double score over you are all associated with getting completely mopped up in the next game. But I love to be wrong. Jibatong finally calls the GG. He created 83 camels that game. 83 camels. I'm thinking maybe if his skirms would have found those archers in the mid game, and then he could have had just like 5, 6-ish Sravamsha riders in this fight, it would have been so much closer. Because Hearttt took a risk there, right? Hearttt was ahead. He didn't need to place the forward castle, but he felt like he could. It was well calculated by Hearttt. What can I say? And he ends up winning the game, obviously, going up 2-0 here over Jibatong. Whoops. Here we go. He was so far ahead for the last 5 to 7 minutes of the game, so his eco really shot up there, but he did also have an eco lead here. So it shows some of that in this position. I think that's total worker time. Can I have that be... Actually want to do food, gold, stone. Now, that might be too confusing for you guys. All resources collected. Can I have that be my default? Because that shows it's a really close game, but that Hearttt was slightly ahead of him. Let's have that be my default, and then... is there military population? Total pop. Total pop and resources collected? They seem to overlap there. I've got to look into this. I'm a little confused now. But anyways, it was a good game. Very good game by Hearttt. He's looking good right now. All right. Well, it's not looking too good for Jibatong right now. But if there was ever a chance against someone like Hearttt, it would be on more closed maps. And that's exactly what we have here. Jibatong playing as the Poles, and Hearttt playing as the Burgundians. This is fortified clearing. The stone walls on the front of each player's base have 1080 HP, so it's less than Arena. But then you also have no walls on the sides of your base, giving you the possibility of controlling extra resources on the right and left-hand side. Players spawn really close together at times. This is not common. I'd say 1 out of every 11 generations, let's say, this happens. And so this could be a party on the right-hand side, man. You actually have 3 relics on the left and some of the extra stone. But it looks like the majority of the extra gold's over towards this right side. And, you know, both civs have fun eco bonuses that play out differently. For the Burgundians, you've got the cheaper eco upgrades and researching an age earlier. For Poles, it's all about mining stone and farming. So both players, they kind of have a reason to wall up. So we know that. I'm just trying to think, which civ benefits from being aggressive more? I think the Poles do. Like, if you were to go Tower Rush, for example, which is possible on this map, and I think it could be good on this map because the stone walls have less HP. You're already going on stone, which is already giving you some gold income. And it could disrupt what the Burgundians are trying to do. But yeah, we could easily just see Fast Castle as well, and who really knows what we'll see from there. But if I'm playing against Hearttt, I don't think that I want to see like a meta game where they both go into stables and like have. I think I want to go into something other than that, so I might actually prefer to go for some type of feud lage aggro. At the moment, there's only 2 on wood for red players, so I could see him considering that. Normally, you'd have more on wood if you're planning on other things. We shall see. So I had this coffee earlier this morning, and I drank half of it, and I stopped drinking it around 10:30. It's currently 4:13, and I thought it would be a good idea to have a little bit of iced coffee. So I threw a bunch of ice in my leftover coffee, and it's not that impressive. It's really not that good. But it's not the worst I've ever had, so I guess I'll take it. I just felt the need to share that. I just thought it would make sense, you know? Like, all right, a little bit of afternoon coffee time. Let's make it some iced coffee. Because I can't have warm coffee past noon. Warm coffee is a morning thing for me, and only a morning thing for me. Warm coffee at any other time, just, I don't know, I just can't do it. But yeah, you know, that's my life. This is a closed map. Hope you guys are enjoying. I'm not trying to imply this map sucks, by the way. This map's actually awesome, which is why we're bringing it back for Season 2. Spoilers. But, still trying to figure out if this will be a fast feudal build into towers or something for Jibatong. He walled the side, which makes me think it won't be. He's going to go over and get some walls down here, too. Yeah, so I think we see fast castle from both. Hearttt is also walling up at the moment. I agree with warm coffee in the morning only. Yeah, right? Even if it's pretty much the same ingredients, which I don't think is the case. Normally, if I ever have iced coffee, I'm ordering it from somewhere, and pretty sure it has way more nonsense in it than my normal morning coffee routine, but yeah, I just cannot do warm coffee in the evening. It bothers me for some reason. And what is this? Okay, so we do have villagers going to stone. So is he going to wall the sides and then run forward here? Let's see. He sees the walls. He's on one lumber camp. I think he will go tower rush. It's New Year's Eve. Have Irish coffee. Dude, my fiance had to not convince me, but half convince me to have like a little glass of wine or something tonight. I am very much I don't know. I'm just like ready to get back to like a healthy schedule after my week off with family. So normally on New Year's, I think I drink a little bit more. I'll probably just have a glass tonight, but no Irish coffee for me. So Irish coffee is always good. And yeah, here come the Vills. Finally answers our question. This might actually be towers and archers, though. I'm very confused. He's taking stone. He's taking gold. He's made a barracks. He's sending Vills forward. He's doing everything. And usually something's got to give, whether that be eco upgrades or the archers are late or this or that. I'm trying to think what words Hearttt would be using right now. Oh, come on. Why are there two closed maps, you know? Why is there an arena light in this map pool? Like, he's probably not happy. Because he's walled up the sides, and he's walled up the sides nice and tight, and now he's going to have to deal with his pressure here. And I think it's enough to disrupt a proper fast castle. Or at the very least, changes his plan a little bit. See how Hearttt deals with this. Now, behind this is an archer range, which Hearttt will be able to see. And so he might think about making a barracks so he can follow up with his own archer range, or maybe he's just going to wall in towards the town center for now. I will say this. Big positive for Hearttt is that his stones and golds aren't forward. That can happen. Like, if this were to be the case, that would be so much more painful for him. I'm too family friendly to do a good Hearttt impression. Well, Streamer 90 is a little too family friendly for that. I can't be my non-family friendly self on the internet for some reason. I just can't change that. Even as if I have a moment where I try. I mean, you know, I let the other day, I think it was last week. So last week, I was making a joke, and I wanted to use this on my soundboard. And I wanted to be like, oh, this guy's probably like, what the And I wanted to do that, but I bleeped at the wrong time. And every time I do that, I usually actually swear. So I bleeped the word the, and I didn't bleep the F word. I was like, oh crap, I'm so sorry. Because I always keep in the back of my mind, you know, there's a lot of people out there who want to watch with their families. Some of you guys don't like to swear. That's cool. Some of you guys don't mind it, but you might have like, you know, a 2 or 3 year old in the room. You don't want your wife or whatever being like, hey, why are you watching that? Hopefully she doesn't sound like that, because that's very shrieky. But yeah, so I always try and be mindful of that, you know? And honestly, as a caster, I try and be as creative as possible. And as much as I think sometimes you just have to swear, it makes me a better caster to use bigger words and more complicated words. All right, anyways, back to this game. We have another tower from Jibatong, and he's just sending archers into these towers. And he's now shooting Heartt's tower down. If there was ever a way to tilt Heartt, maybe this is it. Someone else brought it up, not me. Heartt's up 2-0. It hasn't looked amazing for Jibatong. I mean, game 1 was a shocker. Game 2, well, that was a little bit different. And Heartt's going to lose a villager. I felt like game 2 was actually very close. But just like that, you're down 2 games and you have to win 3 straight against a player like Heartt, which is not going to be easy. This looks funny. Like, this just looks really comical to me. But Heartt is going to be out of stone to repair this thing forever. I think all he's trying to do is he's trying to get enough wood to be able to make a siege workshop and then just siege push this down. Yeah, he lost a villager, but he also has had eco upgrades in age earlier, so that's good. You know, Jibatong is going to start to place farms around his bulwarks over here, so expect his economy to catch up. So far, I feel like the game has gone pretty well for Jibatong, but he hasn't even broken in yet. So assuming Heartt adds a siege workshop, I think that I would consider Heartt to be ahead. We'll obviously see, though. Do you know what Red's name means? I don't know what Red's name means at the bottom right. Knowing Jibatong, it might be something inappropriate. But yeah, I have no clue. I just know that this is Jibatong. So I swear around everyone, my mom hates it. My 4-year-old daughter doesn't seem to mind, though. All right. Interesting, Supplies. Yeah, like, I feel like what you don't want is you don't want this to eventually to turn into a siege push or, like, castle pressure. Like a castle drop. So I think you have to contest this. By the way, Heartt forgot that you need to have a blacksmith before you can make a siege workshop. So he wanted to instantly make a siege workshop and then had to panic down a blacksmith. He is going to kill Jibatong's scout there. And he also added scouts, which you would normally do on Arena, but it's more awkward for him to control relics when there's all these archers and towers out here. Okay. Another tower from Jibatong. That's a lot of archers, guys. like this is an actual threat. And another villager goes down. The Heartt's got to be careful with these villagers on farms, and this is messy stuff. Now, Heartt's never lost a game in this whole silver bracket. I don't know if Jibatong did. I'd have to double check that, but now he's lost 2 vills. His opponent's eco is untouched. And how many times has Heartt faced up against this? Both those towers are loaded up. But that mango's going to go down super quick. I think you even need to wait for the second one. Dang. Here we go. Really, Miguel? Interesting. Well, from what I know about Jibatong, he used to be best friends with Vivi. And there was a period where he and Vivi, every single name that they would make was... how do I say this in a family-friendly manner? It was a username made after the nether regions. And Vivi's were obvious, but like not quite as ridiculous. And holy crap! What is this, like triple tech mod or something? These towers are insane. 5 in there, 5 in there, 2 villagers in there. Holy crap, man. I don't think you can siege push that down. And this is why having that siege workshop right away was essential here, right? Like, being delayed with that allowed more towers to go up. And now Jibatong has 5 towers surrounding Heartt. And he's adding a stable. And he's going to be able to make knights. So Heartt's got to prep monks to be able to convert that. Also, this whole situation will get worse if Bodcanero is ever researched. Oh my god. Alright, so he's repairing here. It'd be mean of me, but I would laugh if Heartt ran out of gold or wood here. I say I'd laugh because it happens to me way more than I'd like to admit against these types of plays. You just run out of resources so quickly. The scout's trying to help. Scout runs away now. Tower's still being repaired. He's out of gold. He's out of gold. He's out of gold. Oh, no! And he's going to want to take the archers, but now the archers are running right into his eco. He's got a house wall. And now the archers run back. This is intense, man. This is intense. Bodcanero 30 seconds away. Heartt hasn't taken out a single tower. I think Heartt's dead. He can't take relics. He can't boom. Also, how much fight are you really going to have when you're up 2 games to 0 and you have your home maps remaining? I'm not saying he's not a fighter, but there's also a big part of him that might just be like, ah, screw this. Do I even want to try this? Yeah, okay. Well, I think if it mentions do you, if his username mentions do you, that is where he likely streams. All the Chinese players will stream on that platform, so if that's what Jibatong's name is, that makes sense. You got beautiful farms over here. Good eco upgrades to back it up. We even have the crossbow upgrade. And light cab upgrade now from red as well. I mean, I would have liked to have seen a siege workshop here. Scouts are going to run in. They become light cab at the perfect moment. And that's going to be a monk down for Heartt. And the light cab now are going to even get out of here with their lives. Heartt, 41 villagers. He's only lost 2 this game. He still has siege. He still has monks. He runs into the town center fire. Very well played. So now the light cab are down. And Heartt also smashes these crossbows in the face. And now we're going to have knights as well from Jibatong. Now keep in mind he's got a lot going on here. Here he tries to take out the mangonel. He will lose a knight to a conversion. Here he goes for the mangonel. He deletes a knight so it doesn't get converted. But here he's also making another tower, which Heartt will be desperate to stop, and it's going to be really close here. The pathing has actually delayed him a little with the monk. He wants to bop them all with the monk, and Heartt's alive. And Heartt stops that tower at 95%. I admire his spirit. I admire his fight. Maybe now he can actually start to push this stuff back, guys. And he also almost has the stone for a castle. So think about this. Clears up these. I mean, even could clear up all of this, but I think, like, more realistically, you clear this up and drop your own castle. The castle fire helps to shoot everything down. And then you can make one of your better units, which is the unique unit, the Coustier. That could all be really good. The problem I see for Heartt is that there's 3 TCs making villagers over here. And the eco is just going to be insane for Jibatong. Jibatong stable units are just going to do their best to delay all this for as long as possible. And we're going to probably see him get a little engagement here shortly. I think the light cav will likely pop out of these stables any moment. And here he is. Heartt will go for conversions, but it's light cav you're going after here, Heartt. And 1 monk goes down. Oh, baby! Converts the light cav too. But just keep an eye on the vill count, right? It's 54 villagers versus 44. Heartt's still 1 town center. And, oh, I love this so much. Yo, let's go, Heartt. He's like, screw the middle. Screw the middle, man. I don't want any of that. Light cab pops out, kills a monk. Man, light cab are so good at that. And Jibatong, he knows he's going to lose this. But he just wants to stay here as long as possible. Heartt, only 10 villagers behind. Will kill a lot of the army that's remaining here. Jibatong's actually taking out the monks and the villager. And what's Heartt's eco actually look like? Not great. Kind of looks like a disaster area. Now he's losing more of his siege. Oh, no. Oh, gosh. That's painful. Oh, that works. Castle's going to go up, though. I think Jibatong needs to immediately stonewall this or immediately drop a castle here, and there can be no delay. The light cav run into his base. Okay, so I'm going to try and make a joke, but I don't actually know which unit I selected. And the audio... Now, you know what? I'm going to save that for another time. I'm going to practice it offline. I always do that with my best jokes. All right? And I'll come back another time. Anyways, cast continues. Hearttt is having a real problem here. And he's starting to lose all of his siege. And he has no monks. And he has no spearmen. And he... Oh, boy. This got out of hand fast. Wow. He also didn't make a single unit over here. And to be fair to him, he can't really afford much right now. And now he's truly falling apart here. I mean, I like the Night Edition after the Lightcav have confirmed that the monks are gone. This is probably over here, Hearttt. Obviously, Jibatong was like 50 villagers behind in each game when he ended up resigning. So, by Jibatong standards, there's still a lot of game to be played here. And I think that Hearttt has an opportunity as long as he were to attack here. It took Jibatong some time to notice this. Who, by the way, does have some relics. And oh gosh, man. Oh boy, there's going to be villagers coming forward for that castle. Jibatong's going to get the stone walls down here, provided he notices this. There is a one-tile gap there. Jibatong, 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 Jibatong! Got it! That puts an end to that. Hearttt now 25 villagers behind and calls the GG. All right. Well, that was really well executed from Jibatong. I didn't think it would really be that successful. But the main reason I think it had any success is because Hearttt doesn't like that stuff. He doesn't enjoy those types of games. It doesn't play towards his strengths to make it that messy. So I kind of said it in Dark Age. I also mentioned, like, which civ would you want to pressure more with? Felt like you'd want to pressure with the Poles against Burgundians versus the alternative in Feudal. And Jibatong gets a win. And you just have to claw it back one game at a time. Downside, obviously, now is that Hearttt has one more map. Hearttt has... Hearttt needs one more win, but he has 2 home maps remaining, is what I meant to say. It's been kind of a long day here, doing my best. Okay, so before we talk about the Civ matchup at hand, and wow, are they close. They are really, really close. I'd like to bring up the fact that if Jibatong doesn't win this game, he could have had Lithuanians on Cross. Lithuanians are on par with Japanese, if not better. They're a top 3 lock-in for a map like Cross, at least according to most pros. Remember, he lost that game number 1 as Lithuanians, and it looked bad. So, you know, things to think about. As he's gone for Saracens, which is not a civilization I expected to see here at all. But you've got to think if he's picked Saracens, this isn't to play it the standard way and compete for all the pawns and be flexible into land aggression. This is most likely to be as greedy as possible. Probably a lot of walling, but most definitely wanting to get to gold and making a market with the Saracens. Saracens have some crazy potential with that market. It can take them to Castle Age faster than most civs can get. And with that, you can do a lot with the Saracens. Usually it's crossbows, but if need be, you have camels with more HP, and you can always go for knights as well. But, you know, as far as the positions are concerned, I think it does benefit Hearttt, because my guess, like, the only real way you want to play out with Saracens here is probably to use the market, go archers, get Castle Age faster, which means you might need more defense and time. So the positions definitely benefit Hearttt. But also, I just don't like the Saracens pick. I think it's a slightly low confidence pick, but I could always be proven wrong. I'm proven wrong all the time. The only thing consistent on this channel is that I am never right. So we'll see. Well, not never right. I am never 100% correct. What percentage, if you were to give me like an accuracy percentage with my casting, whether it be predictions, game sense, whatever. Now, don't make jokes now. Be serious, because if I get below a certain number I have in my mind, I'll be upset. But if you had to say, what percentage would you say for, you know, the accuracy of my commentary, chat? What do you think? 1%? Okay, you're banned. Get out of here. 60%? That's still painful. That still hurts. 66? Oh. I'm I mean, I'll take 69% because it's nice, I guess. But the people that went below 50% really hurt me. I shouldn't have said anything, though. I opened myself up to this. All right, so you still have the dock, by the way. Unless you're an absolute madman, there's going to be the dock. And look at how Jibatong has scouted already. So Jibatong is thinking, I want to wall here. Keep this in mind. If he walls, I want to see that percentage go higher, okay? He wants to wall towards the edge so his pond can't be hit. And I guess, like, ultimately wall in front of that gold, too. Like, this gold could be really brutal for him in the long run. For Heartt, obviously dock the backside. He'll be adding fishing ships. If I'm Heartt and I'm playing as the Japanese, I'm thinking man-at-arms, archers, tons of land aggression behind a little bit of a fish boom, and then adapt from there. And that man-at-arm archer timing is the fastest with the Japanese. I don't think there's many other civilizations that can do things with as much ease on this map because of the cheaper lumber camps, mills, and mining camps. Aha! Called it! Called it! Got the wall. There we go. Didn't say house, though. Should have said house. Now, I mean, there's certain things that as a caster, you're not always going to be right on, right? Because a lot of it is like theoretical stuff, right? I don't think it's, all joking aside here, I don't actually think being right should be the goal as a caster. It should be providing all the possibilities, but, those possibilities could be right or could be wrong. Everything depends. It just all depends on, all the different factors of the game. So my goal is never to be right. My goal is to bring up the proper points and the proper possibilities and the things that can happen. It's not a competition. Because casting, if you make it a competition, like if you're casting with someone else, that's kind of the worst possible thing, because you're like, all right, can we move on here? Like, I'm not saying you're wrong with your point there. Mr. Kip checks are incorrect. Kip checks suck. No, I'm kidding. All right, take it back. There can be some instances, in particular with Dave, where it becomes a right or wrong thing for me because we're friends and I enjoy that level of pettiness. But it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And anyways, back to this game here. I think Jibatong has played the Saracens properly so far because you need to have some level of defense if you're playing into those archers. Here you've got Heartt coming forward with the militia. He's looked pretty thoroughly to find his opponent. Hasn't found him yet. And Jibatong is pretty much the same thing, but he has now located the dock here, which should tell him Heartt is in this area. Oh, he's making militia here too. So keep in mind, we have seen 0 bonuses at play so far for the Saracens. 0. For Japanese, we've seen, I think, 3. Cheaper lumber camps. Well, if you count like cheaper mining camps as an additional bonus, technically that's the same. So let's just say utilize the same bonus 3 times here. This obviously is beneficial for the Japanese as well. So multiple bonuses benefiting the Japanese. As we see Heartt spotting the militia. And what Jibatong does not spot is the militia from Heartt. And Heartt already has man-at-arm on the way. And yikes, the scout just wasn't there. The positive for Jibatong is that he's going to have time to defend from all of this. The obvious negative is that he's going to lose everything. But he will be able to make an archery range. Look at Heartt, guys. Heartt is trying to sneak a villager to dock down here because that's the normal play. Great job from Jibatong to get the walls down. And Jibatong, I think, needs to wall back here. You need to make sure that the army can't loop around. Does have an archer range, though. Will eventually make archers. And Heartt didn't even kill these things. He actually just ran away. And there's even another range from Jibatong. And Heartt will likely be doing 1 range behind this. The big questions you ask now are you going to add more fish? The most optimal plays, you're normally adding 3 more fishing ships from this pond before you switch onto another pond. But remember, it's not the same talking point. It's not the same situation with Saracens because of that market. Because they can just buy and sell things at ridiculous levels. But you still need to have some semblance of normal eco. You can't just rely on the market forever. So that's going to be a concern for Jibatong now. Jibatong kills the scout from Heartt, or was very close to it, actually. And Militia ends up finishing the job, but the Man-at-Arms got some good value. The Man-at-Arms are obviously holding control. And we do have a wall off this direction right now. I also noticed Jibatong's not on deep fish, which actually makes a big difference in terms of his food income right now. Yeah, Heartt's played this perfectly. Added 2 additional fishing ships in this pond, and now he branches out to the next pond. And, oh, wait a second. Jibatong found her, and the scout is weak. So Heartt could actually kill it. It all depends on the hill, and Jibatong notices, but Heartt notices. Ah! Huge. Huge advantage for Heartt now in terms of the water control, as he also kills an archer there. Heartt is looking so good, man. He's playing this so well. We still haven't seen the market. No Saracen bonuses at play. It's why you have to question the Civ pick a little bit here. Heartt will know that the concern for him is food eco, because the Saracens are just going to buy food. Sometimes players will try and beat the Saracens to the market. You don't get the market rates. But yeah, look at this. One of the approaches that I use against Huang, for example, a player who relies on the market a lot, is fast feudal aggression and just send extra bills to gold and beat him to the market, which is awesome to see from Heartt. I actually love that, because it takes a whole lot more time for him to be able to wait on for the fishing ships, for example. The tricky thing is you want to make sure. Oh my God! Wait, what? The villager died over here. Okay. Great job from Jibatong. But the other thing that you need to keep in mind is Jibatong's also making all this army. So it gets so tricky because you think, I need to go Castle Age. But then suddenly they still make all this army. So you still need a balance of army. Heartt still hasn't used his market yet, by the way. Which kind of defeats the whole purpose of rushing it up in the first place, I think. And he's very close to taking out the archery range right now from Jibatong. So Jibatong needs to probably stop that from happening. Doesn't seem like he's that interested in doing it, though. It looks like he almost wants to leave, and he's adding scouts right now. And he deletes his barracks, so he will go this way. Heartt's base is super exposed. If he were to just run to Heartt's base right now, that would be such a baller move. It might also look really bad, but I could see it surprising Heartt and catching Heartt off guard. But for now, he wants to take out the army from Heartt. And it just feels like at what cost, right? Like, Heartt's going to be okay with this. Heartt doesn't want you to have archers. That's the main thing. So him killing that archer mass is the most important thing in his mind. And we haven't seen the market used from Jibatong yet, but he does clear that up. It's a close KD, and it's going to swing towards Jibatong now, and Heartt has to defend. And let's see how good Heartt can defend, because actually, remember, they're close. Heartt isn't full walled. And Jibatong's going to be right behind him to Castle Age here. Also, Archer went down there on that pond. Heartt also cannot tower. So the correct move would be to add house walls and extra layers of palisades. Even a double house wall here would be really good. Has plenty of food eco. It's just, what does he... What? What? Excuse me? Oh my God, Heartt's in trouble. Oh God, pain. Heartt's in trouble. I can't believe that. He added extra house walls. Just Age of Empires things, man. Anytime there's a hill, you better double check. Not always easy to do in the moment. But oh, sheesh, man. I mean, the positives for Heartt, obviously, is he has fishing ships right now. He's got 12 of them, and he'll have a lot of food. But now suddenly the pressure's on. He doesn't have a wood line to take. He does have skirms for the archers and spearmen for the scouts. The scouts are pretty weak. So maybe he'll actually end up being okay, and maybe he'll end up actually trapping this army. That was a yikes moment, man. But yeah, okay, I think he's going to be okay. He actually dealt with it really well. If he didn't notice it right away, he would have lost more. And he did re-wall it with that one palisade, which, man... Talk about things that could really tilt you, right? You just lost the previous game to an annoying strat. Imagine losing the game because of something like that. And then you go into game 5 and you're just sitting there thinking, I was dominating this guy. Like, how is this happening? It would really affect my mindset. I think sometimes, and this is probably a weakness for me, and I don't mean this to offend any pro players out there who will be watching this, but like what I just said, I think sometimes those shouldn't be thoughts that should enter your mind as a player. I think as a caster, I think too much. But I would think like that. That's how my brain works. But I think like, you know, you either have to train yourself not to think like that if bad things happen, or sometimes you just use a little bit less of your brain and it could be really beneficial. So I'm going to try and, you know, think less. That's kind of my 2023 goal for myself. It's going to be really hard to settle that thing down, but I think I can do it. All things considered, 47 eco for both players. Hearttt will take control of this pond and fish a little bit more. But Heartt's army is kind of looking like an AI army. 6 skirms, 2 spearmen, 2 archers, 2 knights. I don't know what he's really committing towards here. Like, whereas on the other side, we've got a lot of crossbowmen and probably siege that's going to come forward here. Also, Varian, I don't appreciate your sarcasm, but also at the same time, I do appreciate the sarcasm. It depends, right? But oh man, like, Hearttt played this game well, but all of a sudden he's in this awkward position where there will be siege and crossbows on his face. We've got ballistics now coming in for Jibatong. How is Jibatong in this type of a position right now? Like, Heartt's base is extremely exposed. Heartt's going to need some epic micro here. And it's all going to be down to his skirmishers, who will be elite in a moment. But now ballistics is in, so his opponent's not really going to miss much. The balance of Heartt's eco is good to be able to make siege and skirms and create villagers. So I think there will be a slow climb for him with an eco lead. He also did get gill nets, so the fishing eco is more efficient. But it's all about micro. Hearttt, I'm pumped to have you in this event. I'm excited to see what you can do with more and more competitive games in Age of Empires 2. But how are your nerves right now, right? Like, this is what really makes or breaks players, these moments, these situations, because he has the lead, but he needs to defend from what usually could turn into a game-ending all-in push, and it's good micro from Hearttt. I don't know how he didn't lose this Mangonel. If that's me, that Mangonel went down. But it's the 2K4 hacks, I suppose. He'll say it's calculated, and wow. Almost just as I said it, he needed a trade. He got the perfect trade. And now he moves forward with a bit of confidence. And suddenly the monks that were going to pop out, oh boy. Everything's going gibber wrong. This is not good. Because now the monks can't convert the knights. Now the knights can take out all the siege. And now Hearttt is adding fishing ships in every pond. And Heartt's eco count is just flying. How... Man, there's just one fight really changed things to that level? That was crazy. We are going to have +2 on the knights here from Jibatong. So he's not finished yet. But he's going to have to get in here. I love how Hearttt positions his monks properly, though. He knows that there's going to be something coming out here. And the shot from the Mangonel goes after the monks and goes after the skirms. Hearttt doesn't get a conversion there. And I think Jibatong is right back in this. It felt like Hearttt deserved a conversion. And now Heartt's going to lose his Mangonel. It's going gibber right now for red. As, oh man, he's getting bloodlines, but he's running into Heartt's eco. Hearttt could lose so many villagers to these knights. And still there's a push that he's going to have to deal with that could always come in from the other side. Ooh. Now, sometimes you want your knights with the main push because the skirms could now move freely towards this area. The skirms are blocking. They're using their bodies to block for the monk. Such a nice guy. Actually, it's a really good conversion too because he converted the highest HP knight there. I don't know how he did that. More knights go over here to do damage, and Jibatong is really putting up a fight. Like, he's not going away quietly, and I thought that this was going to be a quick and easy 3-0. Game 3, he turned it around, and now he's everywhere. And Hearttt is had to... Like, all of his APM is going into saving villagers at the moment. But he somehow has only lost 1 eco in this game. Actually, he only lost 4. I looked at the wrong stat, but still. Goes for another conversion. Gets that conversion. 81 eco for Heartt. A lot of that's on water, though. He's got 15 fishing ships. And he wants to drop another TC here. Jibatong! Jibatong! Oh, man. Heartt noticed before Jibatong did. But Jibatong can't look away from the main push. So it always complicates things. Even though raids sound like a good idea, sometimes you have worse micro on the front if you try and raid. It's tricky. And what you don't want to do without monks is you do not want to donate any knights to Heartt, because Heartt will send those knights in to take out the siege. Oh, that was a dirty shot there from Heartt. He weakens 2 of those. The knights do move back in just to find the skirms are back there, and then they should definitely loop and go to a monk, which should be created any moment now. Heartt has just now transferred to stone, and that was intentional from him. He is maybe thinking guard tower and or castle at some point, which is always very common against all-ins. Heartt takes out 1 mangonel there, and now Jibatong is not too pleased about that, so he wants to take out a couple of his own. And he's going to do that, but Jibatong, don't lose your siege. Well, let's see if Heartt gets conversions here. Jibatong's going to dive! Jibatong's going to dive for the monks. It's taking a long time for these conversions. It's +2 knights, guys. But can Jibatong focus on this at the same time? You got the TC fire. You have the conversions. You have the siege. There's so many crazy things. Honestly, in moments like this, I just look at the unit queue. How many units are on the way right now? It doesn't look like there's a lot coming from Heartt. Holy crap, man. I mean, he's 30 eco ahead, but Jibatong's nonstop pressure is wild. His eco actually doesn't look too bad, all things considered. And the skirms, and now even the monks, I don't think they're going to live that much longer here. As skirms certainly will not. There's another monk on the way. You've got a ram coming. You've got 2 villagers standing there doing nothing. You've got another villager repairing the TC. That's just the life that you live if you're in Peru's economy right now. Peru meaning Heartt, of course. No offense to anyone watching from Peru. I don't know anything about your economy, but maybe pikeman's going to be enough to save the day, but it does feel like the crossbowmen with ballistics will always be enough against the pikemen here, right? So Heartt's going to need a YOLO defensive castle, but where do you even place it? You need these resources. The Japanese pikemen do attack faster. Heartt's got to try something. And he's going to try and drop a castle now with 9 military. I feel like if these crossbows just sit here, this castle never goes up and we go to a game 5. This is insane. This is ridiculous. And I can't doubt Saracens now. Win or lose, kind of leaning more towards win if Jibatong stops this castle. Win or lose, I cannot doubt why he picked Saracens, because this is just really good play. Yeah, just camp with the crossbows there, and I don't think you ever have to leave. There's no skirms. There's no siege. Heartt's got next to nothing right now. His worker efficiency is at 30% for the last minute, and I guarantee you it's going to be a whole lot worse if this game continues. The worker efficiency has been pretty low overall for both players compared to standard games, but oh my god. Okay, so that helps Heartt. He converted a knight. He's trying to get skirms to these crossbows. He's keeping the town center up. He's making a mangonel. He needs to, save the monks and the pikemen to defend the mangonel when the mangonel goes here or here. And he's kind of whittling down these crossbows a little bit. Like here. He also is always getting the full HP knight. So that's another good conversion. The pikes get a couple hits. Jibatong runs away. Heartt with a crazy Kobe shot. And sinks that one. Wait a second. Jibatong's running out of steam here. He's actually running completely out of steam. Heartt can complete that castle now. What in the world? Heartt has more army. Jibatong is making more knights, but he's not making more crossbows, and he doesn't have any more siege. And what? Holy crap. Another conversion for Heartt repairs? No way. Oh. Okay, that was pretty funny. We need to slow-mo that at some point. Well, okay. Well, he gets the conversion. He loses the Mangonel in the last moment. But Heartt's going to try and drop a castle here. And Jibatong doesn't have any army in queue. He's got crossbows now. He could make a few more knights. But Heartt hung in there. And he's actually going to drop a castle on Jibatong's face now. What in the world? It doesn't feel like Heartt has 103 eco, by the way. But he does. And a lot of that's been on water. But, I mean, it's messy stuff. Particularly in the north right now. Normally, guys, if you're all-in push, you're all-in 1TC push with very little fish behind it fails. Normally, it's GG. The only other way you bring it back, working on less economy, is to use the market, get to the Imperial Age first. But I'm just thinking about what you need in Imp, and you would probably need a castle, you'd need Trebs, and probably one good army type, which would have to be archers at this stage. Problem is, it's like, the second you click up to Imp, that's your only eco building idling. And it takes a long time. Heartt, he's got 3 TCs pumping, so that 30 villager lead is going to turn into like 40 and 50, and you now have to defend from all of Heartt's army. Dang. Very, very well played from Heartt to defend from that, because it looked so over. And it honestly just came down to his persistence with the monks and the mangonels, and a couple conversions here or there, a couple mango hits. There was like instances where he weakened him a couple mangonels, and then he used a couple units to just get the final pokes. You know, and now he's kind of like, you know, he's able to breathe and get back to more of a standard game, which he should be in a good position to excel in. The pikemen skirm for now. Heartt even thinking about the Imperial Age. Skirmisher is able to take out the crossbows. Japanese pikemen still very good against what's left over the knights. That's an amazing trade right there for just a couple trash units. Heartt clicks up to Imp. He's got 2 castles. Jibatong doesn't have any. And Heartt's still going to have army right now. Also, will take Jibatong time to get the castles down, even if he ends up getting the trebuchets. Sick, man. 29 to 1 eco KD in this game. And yet Heartt finds himself in this position. Now, I think Heartt got... There were instances where he was lucky and unlucky with conversions. I think there were enough instances of both players trying to convert things where at the end of the day, it evens out. That's the thing that no one wants to hear about conversions, that it all evens out at the end of the day. Things are so much better these days with conversions than they were in the past. But yeah, I don't think he got any extremely lucky conversions, but he did have some fortunate situations where, you know, he got 1 mango hit here. He got 1 extra hit with the knight there. Just tiny little moments all add up. But that's why, like, with the all-in plays, when you're defending from an all-in play, it is just about those tiny little things. Because you've got such a massive eco lead. You just need to wait till a point where it kicks in and stabilizes. The idea behind Jibatong's push was to not let it get to that point. And I would have to look back, but I think for him, he just spent so much time microing that he just didn't produce, right? If he would have had more knights and more crossbows and 1 or 2 more mangonels behind, I think that cycle would have continued. But now he's got Arbalest, and he's got 14 of them. Heartt has 14 skirmishers on the other side. And so it's kind of on Heartt to just try and hold from this wave. The first thing Heartt does is add a trebuchet from both of his castles. And obviously, he's going to be getting skirm upgrades here. Now, after chemistry, Jibatong's not finished. He's going to probably make bombard cannons. That's his answer to skirms. I don't think you can realistically switch into cav. There's the siege workshop, so bombard cannons will be on the way. Japanese don't get bombard cannon. Mass arbalest, mass bombard cannon is something Japanese have almost no counter to. You can't go onager because of the bombard cannons. You can't go skirms because of the bombard cannons. So I oftentimes find that I just need to out-mass in these situations. Like, the KD is not going to look pretty at the end of this game if Heartt wins. It's just going to be tossing numbers in, you know. And then I would suggest, as you run in to your death with all your skirmishers, play let the bodies hit the floor. You know, I personally like to do that, but maybe you should only do that in, like, Black Forest games where people have siege onagers. But yeah, you know, it's a preference thing. Got 2 trebs for Heartt, plus he has a bit of a hill here. And he just has so much more in the way of military, right? He's going to use a small group of skirms to run in. And this is something that you can't really deal with unless you send a cannon after it, which you absolutely cannot do because you need to continue to push. What changed in the past regarding conversions, and I forget when it was. I think it was like 2 years ago now. But they made they removed the slight possibility for certain conversions on certain types of units to happen. Like, there was always a very, very tiny chance that you could convert a light cab instantly, which is like a counter unit. And I forget if they lessened that to a greater extent or if they removed it. I actually think they removed it. But in general, just like little less variation and less chances that a counter unit gets instantly converted. But this is over, man. Heartt's going to move on to Gold League. I'm pumped for the guy. What a crazy game this was. Like, this is a tale of two different halves, as sports commentators say. Like, the first half, the second half of the series were completely different. Heartt really had to fight for this one, and I didn't think he would have to put up as much of a fight as he ended up doing. Obviously, you know, I feel a little bad for Jibatong because Jibatong showed in the previous game and now this game what he can do. But, ooh, this is awkward. Yikes. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Heartt outclassed the guy. Heartt was more consistent. Heartt brought himself, I don't want to say back from the dead because he wasn't dead, but he was near death and he was somehow able to defend from the all-in push. If Jibatong produced a little bit more army in this game, or continued that production when he was all-inning, he almost had Heartt's TC down. He had denied Heartt's castle. If those two things never change, if that situation just stays the same for a couple more minutes, we go to a game 5. And that game 5 would have been on Serengeti, where Jibatong has Mongols, which is one of the best civilizations. So I'm sure Heartt was happy to do away with Jibatong here. Once again, Heartt, I'm happy to see you playing in Gold League. And everyone's going to fear the guy, trust me, because I think he can bring a level of consistency to the play all threes and a level that some players, even in Gold, won't be able to bring. GG's, though. GG's. Good series, guys. So I hope everyone enjoyed this cast. That means we have 2 more best of 3s. Best of 5s. As the Overtaken versus Huang set will unfortunately not be played due to Huang's illness. So Overtaken automatically moves on to Gold. Can't say the guy didn't deserve it, obviously, but still bummed about that because I would have liked that series to be played. Tomorrow or on YouTube, whenever we get the time to upload it, we will have Gabby versus Huciel. So Gabby, the best female player in our scene. She goes in with a lot of people rooting for her against Huciel from Chile. And then the other series, which I'm thinking of, I can't remember. Oh, yeah, that is Lan, the former top 10 player Lan, similar to Heartt, kind of coming back and competing, up against Philip, who is a bit of an underdog story. Philip, player who was like 2K 6 months ago, upped his level recently, toppled some big names like Andre and some others to go up against Lan. Those will be the final 2 deciders in TTL Silver, and then TTL Gold and Platinum all start in early January. So also, a very fitting time to say Happy New Year to everyone who's out there. It is 7 hours away from it being the new year for me, but I know for a lot of my viewers, it might already be or will be soon. So thanks for making 2022 great. Thanks for always sticking around and giving me a reason to talk about this super old game.